là-bas là. Bis n'a arrêté pour aller parler compter combien de monde dans le bus.
When I reached at the gate 1 further down, and the bus had stopped, and that the Nepali is the Nepali officer is the one usually responsible for checking how many people are there in the bus.
Par exemple, caporal Delcy, il m'a dit d'abus avec moi, il m'a dit madame débarquer.
And then Corporal Dilsey, who was in the bus with me, called me and said to me, Modon, you need to disembark the bus.
On débarqué.
So I disembarked the bus.
He gave you a reason why he needed you to disembark?
Reception là devant là.
No, he told me to go with him at the reception in front.
Pour ça, les naïfs là, ils disent comme ça, on calme tout derrière dans petit casseau là-bas. Jeanette et Ivan, il y a vu waouh.
And upon arriving there, he told me that he's going to place me in the small cell at the back. Janet and Ivan wanted to see me.
Pour ça, on accepté, ils m'amènent là-bas derrière. Ils mettent moi dans casseau, lock moi là.
And I accepted, and they brought me over there at the back, placed me in the cell, and locked the cell normal.
That cell where they brought you, is that what they call the isolation cell?
No,
or
no,
the dry cell?
yes, it's a holding cell.
A holding cell?
No, it is just a holding cell.
Okay.
Pour ça, les gens là, peu près, tant que moi, Tony John vini, comme si son l'impression l'en vini, comme si pas qu'on rien, comme si, comprends?
At about an hour had passed, and then Tony Joe came, and he was giving the impression that he wasn't aware about anything.
Il dit moi comme ça, eh là, qu'est-ce que fait là?
He asked me, hey you, what are you doing here?
Pour ça, moi dit le pas, il fait nek Janet, il dit mettre moi là, zot le amont.
And I told him that, but didn't Ivan and Janet said that they needed to see me and to place me here?
Pour ça, il dit moi comme ça, bien aller mal que un coup, Ivan.
And then he said to me in reply, okay, I will go and check on Ivan.
So when he left you, anybody else came later on?
No, no, Ivan a pour plus tard. Tony Joe tourne avant, comprends?
Oh, he came back?
Yeah, he came back.
No, Ivan later came, but first it was Tony Joe that came back.
Là, il vient, il dit moi, qu'on a le fait?
And
Pas
then-
Ivan et Janet qui le waouh, CID qui le waouh.
And then when he came back, meaning Tony Joe, he asked me, what have you done? It's not Ivan and Janet that wants to see you, it is the CID instead.
So that was the first instance that you were told that it was the CID who needed
Yeah.
to see you?
Yes.
Okay.
Par exemple, on dit il écrit Ivan pour moi, dit il vient contre moi.
And I told him, but call Ivan for me on my behalf and tell him to come to where I am.
Ivan il vient, il. Là, il vient, il y a ning à terre devant baou.
Ivan came, and when he came, he squat in front of the jail cell.
Il dit moi comme ça, moi pas nous qui le waouh. Ben là, il paye pour Dieu, CID qui le waouh.
And he told me, Modon, it's not us that wants to see you. The others are scared to tell you, but it is CID that wants to see you actually.
Après, il dit moi comme ça, nous pouvons faire tout bon laisse de prison, bonnes affaires pour gagner.
And then he told me that we are having people removing your clothes and your things, personal things, for you to get them.
And at that point you were cooperating with what? With them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Par exemple, il dit moi comme ça, je peux faire nettoyer isolation cell là-bas, pour je t'en mettre moi là-bas.
And then they told me that they are having people clean the isolation cell for them to place me over there.
Par exemple, on dit ok, il a allé.
And I told him okay, and then he left.
Par exemple, là, il tourne, il dit moi comme ça, on doit finir par c'est pas un petit moment, il va faire ben mettre moi là-bas.
And then when he came back, he told me that the area, the place over there, had already been prepared. It's ready, and that I needed to wait a moment for him to get someone to bring me over there.
Before you were taken to the isolation cell, did you see any doctor?
No.
No.
And at any point in time, whilst you were in the isolation,
No.
did you have the opportunity to see a doctor?
No.
No.
Okay. So you were taken to the isolation cell. What
Avant moi
happened?
là-bas, mon dit comme ça, le CID, il est à moi à cause de pas venir pour venir à moi.
Before I went there, I told him, but CID wants to see me. Why do they not come and see me?
Il dit moi pas connaît, CID dit mettre moi dans isolation cell là-bas, parce que moi comment pour sortir là-bas.
He said he did not know, only that CID said to place me in isolation cell, and therefore I asked him, but when am I going to get out?
So, 1 minute. So they said that it was an instruction from the CID
Yeah.
to keep you in the isolation cell.
Yes.
Okay.
Pois aí tinha como sai para connaître comment sortir là-bas. C'est ID qui pour dire qu'on peut tirer là-bas.
And then he told me that he does not know when will I be out. CID only said, CID is the only one that knows when exactly will I be out.
Pois aí eu tenho para répondre là-bas, une call son bon officier par en Bali. Je tenho pas moi, je tenho bouger comme là-bas.
And then they were ready to bring me over there. He called his subordinate officers and got them to bring me over there.
So they brought you to the isolation
Yeah,
cell.
yeah.
You are
Yes.
placed in the isolation cell.
Yes.
You show no resistance.
No.
Okay.
No.
So for how long were you in the isolation cell?
20 jours.
20 days.
20 days?
Yeah.
Yes.
Moi, là, il vient là, il dit comme ça, on fait des jours là-bas. Pourtant, il qui donne l'ordre pour mettre moi là-bas. C'est même pas qu'on est combien de jours on fait là-bas. Il dit, on fait des jours pour me la persévérance.
I find it strange that Ivan came here and said that I remained there for a period of 2 days only. But since he was the one that gave the order to place me over there in the first place.
And for those 20 days, you didn't see a doctor?
Non.
No.
Okay. And you realized that you had the right to be to see a doctor at the time that you were placed in the isolation cell.
Yeah.
Yes.
You didn't ask for that service to be provided to you.
No.
Okay. So, okay, you are placed in the isolation cell. What happens to you after that?
On dit comme ça, fait si amène mon délo, on bosse ça avec un oreiller, avec mon bandit.
I told them to make sure that they bring my water, a toothbrush, my pillow, and my other things.
Okay. So you are there in the isolation cell, and later on, there's commotion that started at the prison. You are not aware of that?
No.
Okay. You never heard
No.
any commotion
No.
from
No.
where you are placed? Yeah.
No.
And but later on during the day, going on in the evening, the commotion maybe got a bit more serious. You still didn't hear about that.
Non, t'as un petit tapas dans loin là-bas, mon comprends? C'est moi pas connaître quoi qui peut gagner cause, vous comprends? Peut gagner arriver comme ça.
I heard small noises from afar, but I was unable to make out what was being said or spoken.
Okay, just tell us what you know.
Les gens là-bas,
You saw what happened.
les gens là-bas de 5 heures, comment mon quoi? Si mon papa trompé comme si. Si I Jocelyn, une fille là-bas derrière good morning. Jocelyn Anista.
When I was there at around 5, if I'm not mistaken, I think, CI Jocelyn Enista came over there at the back to where I was.
Là, il finit, il crie, moi donc. Tous les mon petit maman, arrêté. Ok ou bien ou normal?
When the CI came, the CI told me, Modon, what do you want me to say? You want me to tell the others to stop, that you are okay, everything is okay, normal?
Pour ça, moi, je dis, moi, je ne suis pas intéressé avec ça qu'on veut dire, moi, là-bas, moi. Je n'ai pas de faire avec ça, moi.
And I told
Moi, je
him
connais pour qui raison, moment là. Vous comprenez?
that I was not interested in the issue that he was putting to my attention at that time, that I was only interested in knowing the reason why I was being held there where I was.
But you had already been told the reason why you were being kept in the isolation cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Par exemple, moi, j'ai envie qu'on est avec lui aussi.
Okay.
And then I wanted to know
Yeah,
from him also, since he was a high officer.
Just to go back, during the 20 days you were in the isolation cell, did the CID ever visit you?
Non, on n'a pas ça.
No.
Quand
never.
moi, je fait sortir, après ça, ça fait qu'il n'arrive pas de prison, soit sous les 5 là. Son samedi, je suis venu côté isolation cell là-bas, je suis venu détachement. Je suis venu un petit bureau là-bas pour ça, au bord côté bureau prison même là.
And with regards to that, I wanted to say something on the matter. After the incident on the 5th, Thursday the 5th, when the incident happened,
go ahead.
they
Let
came
me
to
finish first.
visit me on the Saturday. Saturday they came and unlocked the isolation cell and took me out and brought me to a small area where they see where the inmates get in touch with their counsel and sit down with their counsel. They brought me to that area.
Could you tell us? You said they came to remove you. Who were those people that came to remove you? Prison officers.
Yeah.
I don't recall. There were a couple of lady prison officers. I remember only the lady Mary, but I don't know their names.
So dans même là, par contre ça bureau là, mon arrivé, moi avocat dedans, moi Janet et puis t'en des officiers prison aussi là.
They brought me there to the office. I saw my counsel and then Janet also, and then there were 2 other officers, but I don't really remember their names.
And when you say Janet, you mean CP George?
Yeah, CP George.
Yes, CP George.
And who was your lawyer at that time?
Joshua Rivera.
Okay.
Mr. Rivera.
So, and you were there with your lawyer and the prison officers. So, what was the nature of the discussion that went on? Can you just refer to her as CP George, please?
CP George,
Yeah.
ça il dit comme ça, ça va quelque chose comme si qui n'arrivait, côté prison, que c'est un peu bouleversé, ben n'a pas de cas 26 mois. Il dit ben n'a dit préparément l'autre semaine, je peux 26 mois.
And
Ça
that's
qui me dit devant mon avocat.
CP George said in front of my counsel that regarding to the CID coming to pick me up, it was as a result of the incident, what happened, and the things over here at the prison was a bit of a mess, so they could not come and pick me up, that they will make arrangements for them to later come and pick me up.
And what was the response of your counsel?
Il dit ok, espère autres, n'inquiétez.
My counsel said okay, that I needed to wait for them and see.
So, after they'd taken you there,
They bring me back.
so they brought you back. Okay. So as you are there in the cell, still on the 5th.
Sorry?
On the 5th, you are still there in the cell. Okay. CIA and the staff came to see you.
Yeah.
And so, anything else that you know what happened?
Ça joue après davantage, maintenant crier, maintenant dit l'armée. Il y a un transport là dehors.
The same day, later on during the day, I heard shouting that there were army officers outside in the
À
prison.
cause que moi j'étais là, il y a un peu pour Africa, l'autre prison et ça, là. Quand la sécurité prison, là, quand ben 10 moun la vie était là.
Because from where I was, it's a bit close to the high security prison, where
Ben 10 moun qui la vie prison.
where the people that are staying for life in prison are kept.
Maintenant autres peut crier comme si.
I heard them shouting.
Par exemple, un peu les temps plus tard, maintenant un pété comme si. T'en as 4 pété comme on entend dire. Après on entend encore rien.
And then a bit later on, I heard about 4 popping sound, but afterwards I did not hear anything.
Okay. And from your cell, you could not see whether there were any fire or anything else?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so that's what you heard on the 5th. On the 6th, anything else? Anything happened that you're aware
Le
of?
6, moi pas autant non, rien moi. Se manger, pas venir après-midi, moi croire après 5 heures, nous gagne manger.
On the 6th, I did not really hear anything at all. It was only with regards to the food that did not came in the afternoon, but came later at around 5, I think, in the afternoon.
Okay.
Moi les faire sortir quelque
Yeah,
chose.
go ahead.
I want to make something.
Il y en a quelque chose comme si qui se peut dérouler depuis les dia. Comme si mon senti comme si. D'autres dit moi comme ça mon tiro papier pour descendre en couler des. On dit qu'on est mon date en couler 5.
There was something that I want to make known to the commission that on the 2nd, that had been happening since the 2nd actually, that there had been a paper that came out stating that I needed to appear in court.
Yeah.
Tu descends moi.
And I
Et
went
mon
to
dit qu'on
court.
n'a pas en cours l'aider. on style descend pas gaz, autre une raison pour autres faire quelque chose comme si la langue l'eau, mon comprend?
Even if I told them that I did not have any matters on the 2nd before court, I still went down so that they do not start any lies on me with regards to me refusing to go.
You came down on the 2nd,
Yeah.
and when
Yes.
you got here at the
Ah,
courthouse,
tu m'as comment on a pas case.
And when I came here to court, the court told me that I did not have a case.
but the officers took you to a court?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What else?
On tourne après les 4 après-midi, il y a un gardien montant les codes de mon section. Il dit moi comme ça, vinn vite en les codes bureau mon avocat il a besoin de moi.
I went back, and then on the 4th, an officer came to where I was in my cell and told me that I needed to come fast, that my lawyer is here to see me.
Pour ça, moi, ça quelque chose un peu de la cause, mais mon avocat, si il vient comme ça, sans informe l'inspecteur là, pour lui faire call comme si, quand il est en prison, pour dire, prépare, mon avocat peut venir tel, vous comprenez?
I find that to be something strange because usually Inspector Lorna would call stating that my lawyer has called or is coming for an appointment to get in touch with the big prison section to inform me of said thing.
Pour ça, moi, pas descendre, moi, pas aller.
So I did not go down.
And were you ever informed by your counselor that he came to the prison on the 4th? No.
No,
Pas aucun source écrit comme ça.
I did not seek out any information from him.
But the next day, on the 5th, you came to court and you
Yeah.
saw your lawyer. He never
Yes.
mentioned that he had come to the prison
No.
the previous
No.
day.
Moi, pas aller Hazou, à cause il parti la Hazou.
I did not see him that day because he was not present in court that day.
Okay.
C'est moi plus tard, après moi, je demande, tu dis moi ça, mais vini.
But I asked him about that later on. He told me that he never came.
Okay. So, anything else you know about the incident that happened on the 5th and the 6th of December? Okay.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Moi, il y a quelque chose, moi, je fais sortir.
I have something
Oh.
else to tell the commission.
Go ahead.
L'état 7 ans, dit là. Comme si, quand prison, tu as une réhabilitation, tu as un sport, tu as un bandil.
When Saint-Ange was there, as the prior commissioner, there was rehabilitation and sport and other activities at the prison.
You mean CP Saint-Ange?
Il y a 6 puis 7 ans. On tient des affaires, comme quoi, pour moi, aller comme si pour faire entrer comme si un uniforme football, comme si.
I had once written a letter to him with regards to us having football uniforms.
L'habitude, comme si, c'est habitué à l'autre, comme si.
He usually allows these sorts of application.
Par exemple, il s'abonne l'état, là, il pour expliquer aller, mon crois pas gagner sans que ça.
And then during those times, he was about to leave, so he did not get the chance, I think, to look at that.
So he was about to leave the prison. That is, that when he resigned, or
Yeah.
yeah, that's when he resigned.
Yes.
Par exemple, si Pijos qui a accès avec sa papier pour lui guetter.
And then afterwards, it was CP George that gained access to that particular letter document to refer to.
How do you know CP George got access to that paper?
À cause d'un crime, so tu fais crime pour moi venir aller.
Because she had people call me for me to come and see her.
So you went to see her.
Yeah.
Yes.
How did the discussion go on?
Là, mon arrivé, mon dit, comme si. Moi, je veux permission pour faire entrer un uniforme football.
When I arrived, I told her that I was seeking permission for us to have football uniforms.
Il dit, moi, comment on n'a pas aucun uniforme pour faire entrer là. On donne d'autres lens pour qu'ils ont dans ce football là.
He said that there is no football uniforms for us to get. I will make you have prison uniforms for you to play football wearing them.
So you wanted these football uniforms to come in from outside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody was going to sponsor for you to have the football uniforms.
Oui.
Yes.
Cause dans prison, tu as des 3 teams football, comme si quelque chose de normal, comme si, comprends?
Because we had a few football teams in the prison, things was normal, was good.
Par exemple, mon fin cause là si c'est uniforme football, il a une fini dit moi nous laisse prison pour le football là-dedans. Il demande moi si mon compte histoire Pablo Escobar.
So I came to discuss about football uniforms, and after discussing said, she then, after that she told me that we will get prison uniforms for us to play football wearing them. She then later told me about if I know the story of Pablo Escobar.
And your response?
Moi je dis non, par contre histoire Pablo Escobar.
And I told her no, that I do not know of that story.
Did she go on to tell you
Yeah,
what
vous avez dit
the
moi comme
story is?
ça. Dis-moi comme ça, sans même ça, comme si papa donne permission pour faire entrer uniforme football, sans même ça qui fait gros groupe dans prison après qui fait bonne chose ici là-bas.
And she said that that's the reason, and that's the reason that we have big groups in prison and other things happens and so on.
Okay. So that's it. Okay. Yep. Questions?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I mean, before I ask my questions, I don't think I followed the story about Pablo.
About
Pablo.
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
He came to discuss about the football uniforms
Uh-huh.
for them to have people from outside bring them football uniforms, and
Yeah.
she denied, stating to him that you will wear prison uniforms as the football uniforms for you to play in.
Yeah.
And then after saying that to him, she then asked him whether he knows about the story of Pablo Escobar, which he replied no.
And he asked you whether she explained to you the story about Pablo Escobar.
No.
Did she explain? Because I'm trying to understand what has Pablo Escobar to do with you and
C'est dit moi comme ça, c'est ça qui fait gros groupe dans prison ici là-bas, papa donne aucune permission pour entrer aucun uniforme.
She just told me that that's the reason why we have big groups in prison, and that she will not be giving out any uniforms to anyone.
big groups in prison,
Yes,
meaning
Ça il qui dit, comprends?
that's what she said.
okay.
In context, it means that you have groupies in prison. So different groups.
Different groups in
Yeah.
prison. Okay. So you mentioned that you were detained in the isolation cell for 20 days,
Yeah.
starting from 5 December. So which means you were moved on the 25th of December. Where were you moved to? 24 December. Where were you moved to?
Les autres l'amènent moi persévérance là-bas dans la nouvelle prison là-bas.
They brought me to Perseverance at the new prison.
Et nous arrivons là-bas là. Ça n'a été toi nous à pas 10 tout seul comme si. Ça n'a pas 7 à 8 nous qui n'a les premiers jours là-bas. les 20.
So there was at around 7 to 8 of us that went there for the first time on the 24th.
Et nous venons, tu viens 4 nous. Bonnet qui descend 4 mois quoi. Oui, à l'autre 4 qui descend devant 4 et 5 heures.
So earlier on the 24th, 4 came down to the prison, and then later on at around 4 to 5 p.m. onwards, the other 4 came.
Et toi, je peux dire, un DJ net là-bas, peut espérer nous comme si.
And then when they came, they said that Janet is over there waiting for us.
Et nous arrivons là-bas, on va DJ net.
When we went there, we did not see Janet.
On a dit là, c'est my W1 dans, puis caché.
The others said that she was here, but she was inside in the office
On
hiding.
arrive là-bas, moi, Tony Joe, mon Ivan, après moi, quand on a dit trois officiers encore.
Upon arriving there, I saw Tony Joe, I saw Ivan, and then I think there were other officers as well.
Puis ils ont sauté une pour moi, c'est une bête mode un casso.
And they took me and placed me in a cell.
Comme si là, on était nous tous, nous séparés, ça qu'un son casso.
So it was as if all of us had a separate cell. It was like that actually. All of us had each of us a separate cell.
Okay.
Là, il finit là, comme on est à casso, on peut quitter, c'est là coucher si moi partout.
After they had finished locking me inside the jail cell, I looked around to see that there was dust everywhere.
Puis ils m'ont demandé à Ivan, mais à cause, on amène nous là, comme si, pour quelle raison.
And therefore I asked Ivan, why have you brought us here? What was the reason for that?
Tu m'as comment aller pas connaître, l'autre sorti en l'air.
He said that he did not know that the order came from upstairs.
Là, upon to argue, comme si, comment?
And I did not really argue with him, understand?
C'est malin de ati sal, tout bouquin malade là, ban gay légui, gay latu. So pendant nous na, il faut nettoyer casse aux autres. C'est même les casse sale, c'est la couche ciment.
But the place was dirty, really dirty. Almost all of us that was there got sick from flu and coughs also. And there was a lot of like cement, la poussière ciment,
Yeah.
dust that came from the cement.
Ça c'est le 24 décembre, les autres fait d'autres là, les autres.
That
Pendant
was-
les 10 qui autres n'avoient, welfare vinn gete si maman y OK. Docteur après plus tard mon coin vini aussi.
That was on the 24th of December. I think they had their celebrations, their Christmas celebrations. And then afterwards, it was only on the 10th of...
Les 10 qui ban officiers welfare vinn.
It was only on the 10th that the officers from welfare came to inspect the place.
Okay.
Inspect the place, vinn gete
Sorry.
si nous OK.
Not to inspect the place, sorry, but to check on us to see
Après faire
our
call nos
well-being.
familles.
If we were okay, après le-
Après faire call nos familles.
and to inform our family members.
Okay. Okay. So let's go back to the time that you were in the isolation cell. So just confirm, did you have access to your lawyer when you asked for?
Non. Ça joue les 5 là. Les arrivent tu viens tu dis comme ça, moi tu as accès pour mon call mon avocat, moi pas jamais aucun call pour call avocat.
No.
Pas jamais tant mon avocat.
With regards to the day, the 15th question, Ivan came and said that I was given permission. I was able to gain access to get in touch with my lawyer, but I never got access or get in touch with my lawyer that day.
Okay, but I want to understand for the 20 days that you were in the isolation cell, you never had contact
fois
with
ça
your
sous
lawyer.
samedi, après les 5, les 7. C'est les 7 qui mon avocat qui vient sous samedi là.
Only one time, Saturday the 7th, the Saturday that I was referring to earlier.
Okay, on the 7th. So let's. And did you ask, apart from the 7th, is there any other time that you asked that you wanted access to your lawyer?
No.
Okay. So on the 7th, when you had a meeting with your counsel, and after the meeting, they took you back to the isolation cell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did they tell your counsel that they were taking you back to isolation cell?
On croit. Oui.
I think so, yes.
And what did your counsel do?
Non, à cause il dit semaine prochaine, ben là, peut venir seulement, si il dit venir seulement, prépare mon papa.
No,
Parce
because
mon avocat pas argument tout là, papa.
because he said that the next week the CID will be making arrangements to come and see me, and therefore my lawyer agreed upon that.
So your counsel did not raise any objections?
Non, il dit moi les
With you
les autres
being-
viennent seulement après n'a quitté, papa.
He said to allow them to come and collect me, and then we will see from there.
In prison, are inmates organized into sections with section leaders?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Were you one of the section leaders? What
Yes.
is the duty, what are the roles of a section leader?
Section leader ou faire si qui section est resté pour bien dans l'ordre dans la discipline. Maman là même.
To make sure that the section remains clean and that there is order, discipline amongst the inmates.
Après si on a aucun meeting, la section leader qui allait. Par exemple, les autres viennent, les autres passent message avec inmates là dans la section.
And if there are any meetings, the section leaders are the one responsible to attend these meetings and then to pass on the information to the rest of the inmates in their respective sections.
Après moi les faire ressortir. On pas de section leader dans section 40 boule avant. C'est un boule la vie qui section leader dans 40 boule.
I want to inform the commission that I was not the section leader in the Carambol section. There was before
Yeah.
there was an inmate that was spending life in prison who was the one in charge of that section, not me.
Okay.
Président Janet li la inti bandi moun la vie dans grand prison là. Il mettait ça you. Président mon gars il mettait là.
And when CP George removed the inmates that was spending life in prison and placed them in the SIU, SIU, that's when I became in charge.
Okay. So, as a section leader, are you also responsible for facilitating that the inmates get their monthly articles?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tous les mois zot couillon en bas le gate pour venir ban commission qui pour partager la section.
Every month, they call you down at the gate for you to come and collect the articles and the goods that you will need to spread amongst the section.
C'est moi ça la fin du mois en novembre là, je pas trop donner rien.
But the end of November, that particular month, they had not yet given us anything.
So, on the 5th of December, you had not been given your articles.
Non.
No.
Comment parti là mon sorti de prison depuis c'était bon matin mon al dehors.
Because I was not there, I came out of prison since 7 in the morning. I had went outside.
Yeah, but by the 5th, you knew there were no articles that
No.
had come.
No.
When you receive articles on behalf of your section, do you sign anyway?
Pas habitué si.
I am not used to signing anything.
Okay. So they just give you and you
Yeah.
go.
Yes.
You also said as a section leader, you are also responsible for maintaining good conduct. You're not responsible for disciplining other prisoners, but maintaining good conduct. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So if there is disgruntlement or maybe let me rephrase the question. Have you yourself calmed down any disgruntlement in prison,
No.
in your section? Have you
No.
seen any section leader doing that?
Il y en a, oui. Comme
Ben.
si les autres là, le signe comme si il y en a quelque chose peut passer comme si. Car avec la paix, vous comprenez?
There are that would, yes. For example, if they are there on the particular scene where the commotion is happening or whatever, now they would step in and maintain the peace.
Okay. And would I be correct that this system of having section leaders was sanctioned by the prison authorities themselves?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is not the prisoners who just
No.
organize themselves?
No.
Okay. Then you also mentioned that there was a time when you were brought to court, but you didn't have a scheduled
Yeah.
court appearance.
Yes.
And then when you got here, the court said, we have no matter set down for you, and you were returned back to prison. And you saw your counsel
That day, no.
that day, no? But did you see your counsel after that?
Les 7 pas mon Dieu comme tu as mon avocat.
The 7th, like I stated, was the day that
Pour
I
les
saw.
5 les mon descend pour mon date
I counsel.
normal, il parti présent.
Because on the 5th, when I came down for my usual court date, he was not there.
Yeah. And I remember you said you informed your counsel, and counsel said there was no court appearance
Non, non,
schedule.
côté prison. Les 4 les autres étudiants comme ça, mon avocat allait dans le bureau, il a vient de suite.
No, it was over there at the prison on the 4th when they told me that my counsel was there at the office to come and see me.
But you
Parti là ça joue.
He was not there
Parti
that
aller
day,
tout le monde.
and I did not go
Parti
as
sorti.
well. I
okay,
did not
did you
come
ever raise this issue with your counsel to say I was once brought to court, there was no court appearance, and then I was brought back to prison? Did you ever report this to your lawyer?
Comme si Amanto fatigant pour moi passer bon point clé.
I did not really bother myself to pass on these issues along to him.
I think just based on the responses you have given me, how have you ever participated or observed any session, any workshop, any meeting where prisoners are informed about their rights?
Non.
No.
À cause de la prison là. C'est certains gens qui pour fight son right.
Because
Huh?
inside the prison, it's only certain people that will fight for his or her right.
La restant là, même si pour manger pourri là, je pas pas le dire autres. Je pose c'est tant qui pour manger pourri qui vous êtes d'abord vous êtes je pour tourner dans je pas le dormir, comprends?
The others, even if they are eating rotten food, they will eat the rotten food and then throw it away and then go to bed and will not say anything.
So as a section leader, one of your responsibilities would be to mediate between the prison authorities and the...
Prison, il pas. La prison pas en ordre. Si toute l'administration, je pas en ordre du tout.
The administration of the prison is not in order. It's not in order at all.
Quand on peut descendre en bas, côté des gars, nous pour dire, ça est comme ça, c'est quelque chose. C'est comme si c'est pour venir on dit, non, il n'y a pas de mal.
Even if you go down to Adegon and you tell him that things is like that for us to find a way to work around the things that is happening, it's just as if you came there and told him that and nothing will happen.
À cause moi, on est fatigué. La 4 après-midi, c'est descendre en bas, à la cuisine, pour aller se lire à toi à tes côtes castor.
Because I'm tired of seeing these things. Even today at 4 p.m., if you go down to the kitchen, you would see rats everywhere.
Si puis George, il descend, il vient guetter, quoi qu'il arrive. Non, rien.
CP George came down to check for herself what had happened. Nothing.
So you would, as a section leader, raise complaints with the prison administration and they don't do anything to resolve
No,
those.
no, you
So
guys-
when you say...
Nothing is done.
Yeah, so when you said there are others that fight for their rights, how do they normally fight for their rights? What does it look
So-
like when someone is really sick and tired?
Je fais
of-
autre complainte.
They make their complaints known
How?
Je même, je descends, je t'allais, je me dis complainte.
by themselves. They go down and place their complaints.
And then the prison administration ignores what then happens. What in your experience? What I want
Prison, je
to,
pas fatigué, prison, rien d'autre. Prison, c'est pour viser là, ça va une administration là, c'est pour viser là, non, il pas fait.
The administration of the prison
Pour non, il y a
does
qui
not
m'a assez pour ça prison.
bother themselves with us. They are just there, and I do not see nothing working with this prison.
Comme si on connaît pour parler dans prison. Pas hier, bouquin tombe dans l'asile, comme si des bateaux qui cassés. Prison ou l'asile ou faire des bouillements pour gagner survive là.
You know what it's like in prison? It's like you are on a ship and the ship gets broken and sink, and you end up on an island, and you are there on your own on that island for you to fend for yourself.
and did you, when you were just you, because I wouldn't ask you about others, just you, when you were committed or detained to prison, was there any conversation between you and your lawyer about your rights?
No.
No.
Okay. No, I think that answers most all my questions.
Après qu'on les
Yeah.
avec commission 2023, on a appelé de la prison. Pour mon fin code bureau, mon petit sorti. Moi-même, mon tout seul. Je dis moi pour moi CID besoin moi, body rose. J'ai besoin de descendre avec mon body rose côté CID.
I want to state something to the commission that on the 2023 I was called from the prison for me to come down to the office, and I went there by myself, and they told me that CID wanted to see me, and I accepted for me to go voluntarily.
Ça l'étant, Sam Dodin, député commissionnaire prison.
That time Sam Dode was the deputy commissioner of prison,
Et still là le 5 décembre là. Il y a aussi pas député commissionnaire.
and still on the 5th of December he was still the commissioner,
Les qui
deputy
sont à
commissioner.
bon matin à l'école bureau, à après-midi.
He saw me that day in the afternoon upstairs.
Ya. Les qui dit moi pour dire CID besoin moi. C'est moi là CID besoin moi, il connaît pour dire moi tin déjà sorti volontairement à cause qu'ils ont une bête moi là-bas dans hatou.
He's
Pour
the one
CID vini.
that told
Qu'ils
me
ont CID vini.
CID wanted to see me, and he is aware that I went voluntarily to see the CID, and then that I was placed in the small area over there, and that CID never came.
Okay. No, thank you for that bit.
One follow-up.
Sure.
And in 2023, when you were told that you were needed by the CID, and you were taken out of prison to go somewhere to see the CID?
Oui, prison chaman moi.
Yes, the
CID.
prison brought me directly to the CID.
So that would be at the CID's office.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Modo. Few little questions, just to clarify one thing. You said you spent 20 days in the isolation cell before you were taken over to
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
Prison.
And you never saw any CID officers.
Non, pas jamais arrivé.
No, that
Did
never happened.
Did your counsel ever contacted the CID to ask them if it was true that they wanted to see you, or it was something just invented?
Janet lui-même, il s'est dit samedi, moi, papa, il dit, mon avocat, tu viens de prison, tu viens normalement là. Il dit que mon avocat pour dire l'autre semaine, qui va n'a pour venir par moi, comprends? So, instique avec ça, il croit comme si vrai, comprends?
CP George herself that day, the Saturday that I was referring to, said to my lawyer that next week they will be making arrangements for CID to come and pick me up. So therefore my lawyer stick to what was told to him by her.
Okay, so the CID was supposed to see you 1 week later,
Yeah.
Yes.
on the day of the meeting, 1 week later. So the week passed, another week passed, another week passed, and then you were at the Perseverance Center. Still you didn't see anybody.
Non, là, c'était 6 jours pour moi, c'est bon, on fait 8 mois là en bas. C'était 6 jours pour moi, c'est mon si il vient avec un case. Justement pas sorti.
I spent 8 months over there at the prison at Perseverance. When there was only 6 days left for me to leave that place, that's when the CID came with a case, just as an attempt to keep me inside.
Now, you stated that the CP George, asked you if you knew about Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said you didn't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know Pablo Escobar now? Have you heard his story?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us what you know about Pablo Escobar?
Non, pas tout qu'on gagne, il là, il m'a dit, moi, tu connais, il fait un business sale, comprends?
I do not know really that much about him. I only know that he was involved in illegal businesses.
Okay. Am I correct to say that one of the illegal business is drug trafficking? Okay.
Yes.
Now, did you, Stephen Mordon, ever transact in drugs inside the prison?
No?
No,
No.
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 Okay. Have you ever been called by the authorities, prison authorities, to discuss with you about allegations of drug trafficking inside the prison?
Jamais des arrivé.
That never happened.
Okay. Have you ever been called by the prison authorities to reprimand you on any other offenses that you might have committed inside the prison?
No.
No.
Never. Okay. And then you said one thing before I go to this one. In your period that you stayed at the prisons, did you ever witness any searches being carried out by the prison authorities inside the prison?
Des arrivé dans l'état Saint-Ange, non?
It happened before, but it was during the time of Mr. Saint-Ange.
Now, what we are talking about now is probably C.P. George's era as well. When C.P. George was there,
Dans la prison, moi, pas tout aux autres.
Inside the main
Never
Parce que
prison,
mon
the
temps,
big,
les autres dans bois des roses. Maintenant, doit avoir écoute famille était là-bas.
inside the main prison, I never saw them, but I heard that they went to the other places, like at Bois de Rose and the area where they keep the female inmates.
okay. Now, you requested at the time of CP Saint-Ange to get uniforms for the football teams.
Oui, à cause de courage, non, parce que si nous venons avec nos papiers normaux, on fait là. Il peut nous allow nous comme si faire entrer dans l'uniforme.
Yes, because he encouraged us. For example, if we were to come with our paper, our proper application, he would then allow us.
Okay. So, but you never managed to get the uniforms because Mr. Saint-Ange left, and then this went to the attention of C.P. George.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, am I correct to say that C.P. George said to you that no uniforms will be allowed to come inside the prison,
Oui.
Yes.
and that you would be given prison uniforms to carry out your sporting activities?
Oui.
Yes.
But can you tell us if in the prisons, did you have prison uniforms at that time?
Então, des autres types de coups, moi, pas tout, oui.
I heard that they were sewing the uniforms, but I did not see anything.
So are you confirming that there was no prison uniforms distributed to the...
Non, on a quelque chose à faire avec. Si vous pouvez sortir de là-bas, là, pour venir à l'air, pour venir à avocat, soit pour venir à SIF, même, les côtés de l'administration, là. Les autres donnent nous ça, les autres doivent changer.
You know what
Mais
they
tout pour venir là.
do? If you are coming out of the gate, for you to go over there in the lawyer's office or for you to go to see someone at the administration office, it is now that they then would give you the clothes and tell you to go change before going to that
C'est vraiment après
particular
les
area.
fois, à des gons, tu passes, tu dis, je parle ma stoulens normal, je peux donner uniforme, je peux donner l'insprison, je pense mais appliqué.
But I also remember one time Radegon came, passed by, and said that we were going to be given prison uniforms, but it never happened.
So I am correct to say that the inmates at Montagne Posée prison or other different units of the prison were using their own civilian clothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions that we can raise? Okay. No, thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Modo, for your testimony this morning.
Yeah.
We just want to remind you of some of your rights, that you have a right not to be victimized by anyone for having come forward to give your testimony before the commission. If anyone victimizes you or victimizes your family for this, then please report to the commission. Again, it is a criminal offense for anyone to victimize you or your family for having come forward to give your testimony to the commission. So once you report, the commission will take appropriate action to ensure that justice is done. If at any point you also come across information or you remember something that you may have forgotten to share with us today, which you think is relevant for what we are investigating here, please get in touch with the Commission Secretary so that you may help us with that information. If also we need you to provide any further information, we will call you again. But at this point, we would like to thank you for your time and for coming forward with your testimony. Thank you.
Okay, I see.
Thank you.
What time is our next? At 11 o'clock. So we'll take a 15-minute break. Then we come back at 11.
11:15.
11:15. Okay, so we come back at 11:15 then. Okay, thank you very much.